You okay? You alright? The angle? It's not? There are some prime seats here next to Mitchell. So here we are. We're jump starting, and this is the G. We've done one, how to shift the aggregate demand. We've done G. Okay, let's now do M. Stay with me, then we'll summarize everything. Any questions, by the way, before I erase this? Oh, I need to show you something. So please look at the diagram on page 87. I'm just doing a simple version for you here. This is the diagram of the economy. Clockwise is the money, and counterclockwise is goods and services. That's the physical stuff. And clockwise, it's pieces of paper. Okay, so the more vigorously that's flowing, clockwise and counterclockwise, the more healthy the economy. So there's a flow of funds. And here, you have this weird reservoir where Keynes called this money that's stuck on the side here. Keynes called this hydro-loanable funds. What is this about? It's kind of outside the economy. It's not flowing in here. It's part to the side. Remember, Keynes came up with his macroeconomic policy in, is that door left open for a reason?
It was locked, so I just, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, fine. So, Keynes, the model came up in the Great Depression. So can you tell me what happens when money is out of this engine? This is called the engine of the economy. The engine of the economy. So money is pulled out into this reservoir here. What happens then? Come on, Colleen, help me here. Solomon, help me here. Recall, help me here. What does it mean when it's outside sitting there? What happens to this engine when it's just sitting there?
Slows down.
It slows down. So when you have an economy that's dead, recession, all of this money is sitting outside it. It's too risky. C bar is too low, I bar is too low. Great Depression, my wife, Mary's mom, hid all her savings in newspapers. That generation, because the banks had failed. So if you had left your money in the banks, gone. So, and mason jars in your backyard. Today, CDs, parking your money in CDs. Outside. So when an economy is sick, this baby is full. It's not generating income. It's sitting, it's under the mattress. In the medieval, pre-medieval era, when the Roman Empire was collapsing, by the way, we do a lot of history in this program, a lot. You know, buried your coins from the Huns and the Goths and the Vikings later, which is, that stuff is still showing up today. Mattress. And so what did Keynes recommend? He needed to get this baby in there. So what did he recommend? Come on.
Increase the I.
So basically what you need to do with all these idle loanable funds, you need to get them in here, right? How do you do that?
Reduce interest rate.
Yeah, to make it more enticing to move your money, to take a risk, to move your money into the economy.
Yeah. Yeah, these people have been burned. They've lost, so many people have lost their jobs, the life savings, banks have failed. They're hiding the money in the mattress, in newspapers. And basically Keynes said the government should do what?
Spend.
Wow.
On two. Sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. I'm just so grateful. Let me know when you need this microphone.
Yeah. You want to just turn it off real quick?
So while we're doing this thing, don't look at the book. What was his policy prescription? Government should do what?
Spend.
Spend. Okay, increase G. What kind of G?
Good G.
Good G. Right? And how? How to spend this? Get the money from where? How? Talk me through it. How would you get that money from the mason jars in the newspaper? Greg? What?
Sell bonds. Insure it.
Did he say taxes?
Insure it.
Yeah.
Sell bonds.
Yeah, so thank you. So borrow from the public, right? So government should increase good G. Let me know when you need me, Sophia.
Yeah.
Good G by borrowing these idle loanable funds. Sorry?
No, I'm just testing.
Oh, sorry. Idle loanable funds and increasing G. And come on, finish the sentence for me. Generating.
Is this better? Sucks.
Generating.
What about now?
No.
Nice.
Oh.
Do you have those portable mics that give all faculty members? You want to do that?
No, those didn't work for me. I just use one.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it tomorrow. We'll probably have to get our AV guys out.
Okay, this
These are higher.
yeah, anyway. Put on my mask.
You sure?
Serious?
I mean, we're serious.
Langdana is willing to try anything. Hey. Yes?
Yeah, I think it's good.
All right.
I mean,
Can you hear? Thank you so much, Sophia.
all right, no worries.
This is better. I'm feeling some resonance.
We'll definitely take a look at this tomorrow, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, have a good
You
conference.
too, thank you. So come on guys, so here we are. The government needs to get this money, say with me now, and push this in here. So borrow this money, increase G, and generate nice what? You put 50 in the economy and get what? M. Wow, who said that? You want to make a nameplate so I know who you are? Next week maybe? What's your name? Daniel, thank you. Nice multiplier effects. And this is how you jumpstart an economy and you bring it out of recession. So, but how do you borrow from the public? They've already been traumatized. It's the Great Depression. 1 in 4 Americans lost their jobs. How do you borrow from them?
Sell treasury bills?
Yeah.
No.
Mm.
So FDR basically go on the radio, and we had the famous fireside chats. You heard of his fireside chats? He actually sat in front of a fire. Remember what we said last time? Leadership in macro, you have to be a C-bar manager. You have to have presentation skills, especially nowadays, or you can forget it. And so he spoke to an American family in front of a fire. And he told them, you know, those famous speeches, nothing to fear but fear itself. He said, this is not America asking you. This is me. You are lending to me. You have my word. And my wife's mom, you know, she's passed away now, they all credit him personally for moving the country out. Later on, World War II, big G in World War II helped too. But so they lent to him. It was C-bar management. And it was interesting. I had stories from people who said as kids growing up in Brooklyn or wherever, they would hear this, they would be playing outside on their bikes, and you could hear FDR's speech blaring from every radio. And so while you played outside, you could hear the whole speech as you went up and down this little street. Because every, you know, one channel, and everybody had that same speech on their radios, and so they could hear the whole speech. Reminds me of when I was a kid in Bombay. I'd walk in South Bombay, and you could hear the whole cricket game, because all those people selling radios had the, anyway. And so he convinced them, people lent money. We had the Civilian Conservation Corps, then the highway system with Eisenhower later on, Tennessee Valley Project, Hoover Dam, but there. Okay. Let's look at method.
What's the y-axis to that one?
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like last time. C plus I plus J. Okay, method number 2. So we've done G. We've talked about idle loanable funds. Today it would be buying treasury bonds from your savings account, buying. If you have a checking account that pays interest, you already lent to Uncle Sam. Foreigners are lending to Uncle Sam. The focus is good G. What is good G? That's that whole firestorm outside. Should Biden include this? Should Biden include that? You have Munchkin getting mad. You have Cinema getting mad. So. Okay, method 2. Stay with me now. Change in M. So we have Y, C plus I plus G. So we've done G. So we're doing I now. So here we are. Money supply, money demand. We have I is I bar minus Fi, I0, and so the Fed increases money supply. what happens next? And how does the Fed increase money supply? We just talked about it this morning. Eric, in the back, could you close the door, please? What little volume we have is blowing right out. Thank you.
Give money to the banks.
Thanks. And so Fed increases the thank you. So here we are. This is increase in M. So interest rates dip to I1. Short-term overnight rates. Step 2. The Fed increases M. Short-term rates fall, and I promise you we will talk about long-term rates in chapter 6. Short-term rates fall. I0 falls to I1. Okay, what happens next? Thank you. What's your name? Dave? Dave, thank you. And so I0 increases to I1 as interest rates fall. Therefore, aggregate demand, therefore, Y increases aggregate demand to the right. This is a quick, easy one. And so this translates to there we go. Increase in M, decrease in interest rates, increase in I, and Y1. So basically what you do, increase M, lower interest rates, capital investment goes up. That's an easy one. What's the big assumption we made here? That when we increased M and lowered interest rates, good things happened. Come on, this is a deep click. What's the assumption we made here? Oh my God, who said that? Dave, you're burning. Say it louder please so they can hear.
Investor confidence is high.
Investor confidence is not shutting everything down. Talk macro to me. Use my language. What has Dave just said? He said investor confidence is not going to collapse this whole thing. You lower interest rates, everybody rushes out and buys vacation homes and factory space. What's the language we want to use?
Well,
What?
well.
Yeah. Dave said investor confidence is not collapsed. So what is that known as when investor confidence is low and it cancels out everything?
Liquidity trap.
Is that you again, Dave? Thank God. You're exploding. Like you're overheating. So liquidity trap. Thank you. Liquidity trap. So there is no liquidity trap here. Okay, you gotta stay with your notes now because we are moving. You gotta stay with your notes. Alright. So method 2. And I'm gonna put this all together once we are done today. Method 3. So we've done G, we've done M, which is part of capital investment. And what's the third button that's left for us, which we mentioned on the first day? The 3 buttons. G, M, what was the third one?
Taxes?
What's that?
Taxes?
Taxes. Here we are, let's do taxes. Then we will have a little class exercise. Can I erase this, folks? Any questions about this?
Can I ask, so the 3 dots, what does that mean? The 3 dots between?
That's therefore.
Oh, therefore, okay, and then the YP?
Y increases.
Okay, thank you.
The three dots is therefore, sorry. Anything else? Okay, let's do taxes. So start sending me articles, by the way. If you come across a 3-star gem that's jumping out at you, send it to me. And then if it's super good, I will send it to the rest of the class. So it should be, when you now, tonight or tomorrow, you're gonna see a whole bunch. I've been just waiting for this class. It's gonna be a cascade, because we're gonna be all this talk about the Fed raising interest rates and all. Now you're ready for it. So send to me, please, if you see something good. Method 3. Taxes. So let the tax rate be T. So it's like 30%, whatever. And so we had C is C bar plus BY. Now we have consumption function with taxes. CT is C bar plus BYD, where YD is disposable income. Here we are, folks, we're getting more sophisticated, where YD is disposable income or after tax income. Disposable income or after tax income. So YD is Y minus T times Y. So tax rates are 30%. And so it's 100 minus 30% of 100, you know. So simple as that. In other words, YD is Y times 1 minus T. So that's your disposable income or after tax income.
Professor, is that capital Y minus lowercase d times, does that apply?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the same thing here. So that's this here is the gross income. And so that's $100. That you make $100. You're paying tax rate of 30% of $100. And so that's $70, right? Which is 100 times 1 minus 0.3. Okay, so that's your after-tax income. And so the consumption function now, so consumption function with taxes is C bar plus BY times 1 minus T. This thing here, this is YD, after tax income. So that's the only difference. Instead of just Y now, you have after tax Y. So what do you do with taxes to jumpstart your economy?
Reduce taxes.
Louder, please.
Reduce taxes.
Yes, that's what we have. Here you go. So what you have, so as tax rate decreases, YD increases, C is C bar plus BY 1 minus T. Therefore, consumption increases. Finish the sentence for me, and therefore what happens to the aggregate demand? What's that, someone?
Shifts the right.
Consumption increases, therefore aggregate demand shifts to the right.
What does that say under the equation? CO
Consumption.
consumption.
So consumption increases and aggregate demand shifts to the right.
Thank you.
So what else might happen? If you announce this tax cut well, not grudgingly, if you're a great communicator and you announce this tax cut well, like Reagan did, by the way, Reagan's tax cuts were just for a short time, then they disappeared. And everyone's still talking about, oh, when Reagan cut taxes. No, in a couple of years they were gone. But what would happen? What could happen if you did it well and injected a whole lot of optimism?
Consumer and investor confidence will increase.
And specifically out here, which confidence?
Consumer.
Consumer confidence. And so please note, and perhaps this tax cut announced well, again my point, you have to manage C-bar. Gone is the world when you could sit in your office and run macro. Not anymore. In this hyper-connected world, you are managing C-bar all the time. And managed well, is announced well, C-bar may also increase. You might get a double whammy. And that's what Reagan was great at, you know. He was great at injecting optimism. Poor Jimmy Carter, sweet guy, honest guy, perhaps the most honest human being we have ever seen, not just president. Smart guy, nuclear engineer, but bless his heart, disaster with macro policy. God bless him. You know, I mean, C-bar, he put C-bar in the emergency room. You know, there's a great malaise that has come over our country. There is a moral decline. I made the mistake of renting his book while I was driving to Virginia. I almost went off the road. I said, I'm just going to go off the road. I'm just going to fly off the Shenandoah Valley and end it. What is the point of living? Seriously, it was like, no wonder, Jimmy, you're a sweet man. You build houses for poor people. You know, you do furniture for poor people. Bless his heart even now. What were you doing? What were you thinking? Here comes Reagan. There's a shining city on a hill. I said, oh my gosh, there we go. You know, and he hated G. At least he acted like he hated G. The most terrifying sentence, Reagan, in the English language, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. You know? So he was whimsical, kind of like Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln had these farm stories. The farmer did this, and the pig did that, and the cow, and the farmer, and the farmer told the donkey. You know, tons of farm stories. So he was kind of that way. Bless his heart, poor Jimmy. Sweet man. And then, of course, the hostage rescue, and it was all over. Okay, let's put this all together.
So in case of Trump's tax cuts, I mean,
Oh
it
my
was.
God. So the Trump tax cut, you had to bring this up, right, Mittal? Give Langdana, get him worked up. So the Trump tax cut was the biggest welfare check for billionaires. It was given, and bless their hearts, his base, like, oh, the tax cuts. No, they went to the billionaires, $500,000 and above, and all the suits on Wall Street. Okay. Stay with me, let's put this together, and we have reached a plateau. So let's put this all together. Then, to be fair, when Reagan cut G, he cut school lunches. Trying to be fair here. and he cut the veggies. School kids were getting vegetables, he cut them, and they said, "Well, President, there are no veggies." He says, "Oh, there are. They get ketchup." He actually, look it up, I'm hoping I'm wrong. I need to look this up. Did he actually say ketchup is a veggie? Let me know, I've often wondered. But that's something he might have said. Okay, here we go, summarizing. Here we go, stay with me folks. This is what it's all about, how we are going to apply this in our class. Here we go, P0, Y low, from 1 to 2. I want you to summarize. Please do not look at your notes. Do not look at your notes. Just kind of put this all together, and then we'll have a little class exercise. So, C, I, G. Take me, jumpstart me. Jumpstart me. Economy from 1 to 2. Press all 3 buttons. T, M, and G. So we have C bar plus P y 1 minus T. I is I bar minus F I. Is everything we've done so far? Money supply, money demand, I0. So do you guys have class, you full-time people, tomorrow morning?
No.
Anybody? No.
Thursday morning? No?
No.
Thursday afternoon? Nothing on Thursdays?
So, no, some people do.
Not for me.
And you part-time people, how many classes are you doing a week? 1, 2?
2.
So 3 is the maximum you can do? So that's you can't do more than 3. So what are the other 2 you're doing? Gentlemen in the back there? What are the other 2 you're doing?
Real estate law.
Oh, with who?
Property management.
With who?
I don't know yet. I just got registered last week, so.
Oh.
Yeah, not that.
All right, let's do this, folks. Take me from 1 to 2. Anybody in the fashion program? There is a fashion program. I'm not kidding you. No? The pharmaceutical? Lawyers? Doctors? Supply chain? So we're going to see, we'll talk about cost push inflation next week. All right, take me to this 1 to 2. Come on. Let's start with C. Which button will you press and how? Come on. Okay, thank you. So here we go. Decrease taxes. Increase after-tax income. Increase consumption. Shift arrogant. Maybe increase C bar. So that's how we do consumption. We cut taxes. And remember, consumption, why is consumption so important?
70%.
This is a biggie. And the problem with consumption is it's so hard to change it. You got C bar, it's not easy to fake C bar. You cannot, I can't tell you, on your way home, buy a new car. You know, it's endogenous. Nevertheless, taxes is the one button affecting this. Okay, capital investment, which button here? Thank you. So increase them. Then what? Come on, give me the whole sequence.
Reduce the interest rates.
Decrease interest rates.
Increase investment.
Increase capital investments. Greg, assuming what?
That investor confidence is.
Talk macro to me. Talk macro to me.
That, there's no liquidity.
Yes, 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 thank you. No liquidity trap. And G, what about G? What do you do with G? Colleen? Mark? Solomon? Jessica? You're gonna call out your name, you're supposed to answer or say something. Not just hope Langdana is gonna go away, just ignore him.
I feel like this is too simple, but I was gonna say increase.
Yes, most of it is gonna be intuitive. There are no curveballs here, there's nothing. So increase in G. What kind of G is this, Jessica?
Good G.
Good G. And fund paid, financed by how?
Bond.
Borrowing, excellent, you're nailing it. As long as the bond finance deficit, come on, this is a deep click.
It's under 5. Under 5%.
Wow, talk macro to me.
Nick, I don't have the name tag yet.
So talk macro, what did he said, under 5%, you're at the goal, Nick.
Oh.
You're at the goal, the goalkeeper is out of position, you're not offside. 6 million people are
You're losing
on their
me.
feet. Is under 5%, what's that known as?
Sustainable.
Wow, who's that?
Ah.
Who's that? Greg is sustainable. This is how you press all the buttons and it jumps down and do exactly the opposite to move the curve back. So, what we're going to do now is an in-class exercise. If you got your laptops, if not, open it on the board.